G'day guys, Chronicles of Solid here and welcome back to the garage. Today I thought I'd combine two of my passions, that is motorcycles and movies. So I'm going to put together my top 10 favourite motorcycle related movies to help you from getting bored. So let's get into the video. So I'm breaking these movies up into two categories. The first is going to be motorcycle documentaries, and the second is going to be Hollywood movies that are motorcycle centric or at least heavily feature a motorcycle. So let's get into my top 5 motorcycle documentaries. Now this isn't going to be any particular order. I'm not going to rank one the best and the fifth the worst of the lot. These are just my top 5 in no particular order. So the first documentary film is clearly going to be On Any Sunday. It's a fantastic documentary. It is a bit old. It was made in 1971, but it features people like Steve McQueen and Malcolm Smith and many other riders. It showcases many different types of off-road riding. You get flat tracking, dirt bike racing, desert racing, and enduro riding, to name a few. And it's a really good showcase of what it was like to ride and race in the 1970s. And it also did a lot for motorcycle riders and their image. This documentary did a lot to show that motorcycle riders really were just everyday people that come the weekend just wanted to go and have fun on their motorcycle. So it's well worth a watch. The second documentary I would recommend is Dust to Glory. It's a fantastic film that follows the races in the Baja 1000 in Mexico in 2003. Now the film was actually released in 2005, so it is a little bit old, but it's fantastic nonetheless, and it really shows the grit and the resolve involved in such a hardcore race. And it's no joke, the Baja 1000, so it's well worth a watch, and just how much determination these riders have. So the third documentary I would recommend is called Riding Solo to the Top of the World. It's a very different kind of movie to the other two. The other two are quite fast-paced and adrenaline junkie kind of documentaries. This is a very quiet and introspective documentary about an Indian guy riding his Royal Enfield from Mumbai all the way to the border with China in the Himalayan mountains. Now, there are a few things that make this a very good adventure riders movie. The first is that this is a very personable character, and he really does take the time to get to know the interesting and colourful characters along the way in his adventure. And the second thing that is really fantastic about this film is that it's unsupported and he films everything himself. And what he accomplishes in filming everything himself is pretty amazing. You can really see his dedication to the craft of filmmaking, and the end result is a very quiet and very philosophically beautiful adventure film that really strikes at the heart of what it is to be an adventure rider. So I would highly recommend it. So the fourth documentary I would recommend follows up from Riding Solo to the Top of the World, and he makes his second attempt with One Crazy Ride, and this time he brings along his 4 friends and they go for a trip through northeast India. Like the first film, it's a very interesting film that showcases the colourful and interesting characters in traditional northeastern India. And it also really is a great adventure film that shows how a group of close friends band together to get through some very technical and tough terrain and fix the mechanical issues, and also the difficulty traveling through rural towns and negotiating authorities. It's a very interesting film about camaraderie, about adventure riding and tough terrain, and really showcases the wide and interesting world of Northeast India. Now, the fifth film I wanted to recommend is called TT3D Closer to the Edge, and it follows the races in the Isle of Man TT. Now, if you're an adrenaline junkie and you love road racing, then this is the film for you. It follows people like Guy Martin risking their lives in what is one of the world's most dangerous road racing events. Now, if you haven't seen any of the Isle of Man TT, I would highly recommend watching this. This is far more intense than any MotoGP you've seen. So this is a road race where they just close down the Isle of Man and they let them just go hell for leather through the streets. So it's a fantastic movie of guys just going breakneck speeds and risking their lives for glories. So before I go into the Hollywood movie section, I wanted to just throw one more into the documentary series as a bonus round because it's available on YouTube and there's no paywall in the way. So this one's called Into the Dust, and it's a fantastic film that follows a father and son as they enter themselves into the Baja 1000 desert race. And it really is a great showcase of the relationship between the two and what it's like to be a small-time racer in a big-time event. So it really shows just the determination and the strong bond between this father and son combo, and I would highly recommend it. And as I said, it's free to everyone, so you may as well kill some time and watch this fantastic film. So now we move into the Hollywood movies. Now this gets a little bit more difficult because it's hard to find a motorcycle film that's both well written, well acted, and believable. The first Hollywood film I would recommend is World's Fastest Indian. It's probably the most famous on the list as well. It has Anthony Hopkins in the lead role, and it's based on a true story of Burt Munro, who was a real character. He's from New Zealand, and he's famous for racing and setting land speed records on his Indian Scout 45. Now, this is a guy who no one believed he could do it. He built his bike in his tiny little shed in New Zealand. And it's about his journey all the way to the Bonneville Salt Flats on a shoestring budget, and how no one believes him in his journey, but he wins over people and makes friends and builds a community around him just from his strength of character and his can-do attitude. So it's a fantastic film. Even if you're not a motorcycle lover, this is one you can watch with your family, your husband, your wife, your partner, even your kids. Everyone will get something out of this. So the second film I would recommend is more of an indie film, and it's called 1 Week. And it's about a guy who gets diagnosed with cancer, and one of the things he does to come to terms with this diagnosis is he buys a Norton Commando 750 off a neighbor. And it's about him taking a cross-country trip across America on his classic Norton Commando and really trying to come to terms with his terminal diagnosis and what that does to his close relationships. So it's a very introspective and very quiet little film. It's really interesting, and how he meets people along the way and how this motorcycle really becomes one of his best friends and helps him deal with such shocking news. So the third film I would recommend is The Motorcycle Diaries. If you haven't heard about this film, this is a biopic. It's based on the memoirs of Che Guevara. Now, if you haven't heard of Che, he is the Cuban Marxist revolutionary, and love him or hate him, he definitely is a major figure in history. And this is all about his experience traveling Argentina with his best friend on his 500cc Norton they called the Mighty One. And it's really about him growing up and experiencing rural Argentina and the people's struggles, and him becoming the man that we know in history. So it's a very interesting film that follows their adventures on this crazy Norton 500cc that's held together with hopes and dreams. It's a great coming of age film. It is in subtitles, it's in Spanish. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind subtitles. I quite like seeing films in their native tongue. But for those of you that have a problem, you have been warned. But it's a great film and well worth watching. The fourth Hollywood film I would recommend needs no introduction, and that's Easy Rider. It follows two American guys on their Harley choppers heading across America and experiencing life. It's about looking at how life would be on a motorcycle, living on the outskirts of society, throwing away social norms, and it looks at how society treats those kinds of people that live on the fringes and don't conform. Now, this isn't a movie that's all feel good and positivity, so you have been warned. This movie does get quite dark, really explores the darkness of humanity and how society treats people who do not conform. So it's a really interesting movie and fantastic if you're into old school American choppers, and really a great movie all round. So I would highly recommend it, but you have been warned, it isn't a very happy-go-lucky movie. So the fifth film is a little controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. and that's Wild Hogs. It's a great comedy if you're looking for something that's super cheesy and light-hearted and fun, and it's about a group of clean-cut friends who decide to go on an across America trip on their Harleys. And it's about the shenanigans they get involved in as they come across an outlaw motorcycle gang and they make some mistakes and how the situation escalates and escalates. And it really is good if you're looking for a light-hearted laugh. It's got a bunch of great famous actors who are all having a lot of fun in this film. So if you're looking for a family movie where everyone can get something out of it and have a big laugh and lighten the mood, I think this would be a great film to watch. So check out Wild Hogs. If you like cheesy comedy, it's a good one to watch. So those are my top motorcycle movies and documentaries. Now, if you've got some motorcycle movies that you love that I have not mentioned, please chuck them down in the comments section down below, as I'm sure we'd all love to hear what they are and add them to our list of things to watch. Also, I think I will be doing another video like this based on Motorcycle Adventure TV series. So if you're wondering why I haven't put in things like The Long Way Round and The Long Way Down, that will be in the next video where I cover TV shows that I love. And as always guys, I've been Chronicles of Solid and I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later.